pirates. Then the English tried, you know, like the pirates, whenever they would bury their treasure, they were a tree with an axe and they would kill someone from there. They believed that the spirit would stay there in Rome, right?
So their dape would stay there and this dape. Yeah.
So
like, do we pronounce it? Do you know if we pronounce it well? Like here in the island, dape.
I read online that it's duppy, but I mean we have our little accent.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. We switch everything up.
Everything, literally.
But yeah, the theory is that the Black English speakers named Yabadingdings, but a Yabadingding is an archaeological find. Like for example, this one. This isn't a real one, by the way. This is a copy that a biologist from Utila made for me. It's an exact copy of the original ring.
Oh wow!
But the original ring is more of like the color of your shirt, like a little bit in between gray and green.
Yeah, this is.
What was it made out of?
Really cool.
Let's
see if we can.
Rock.
Yeah.
Let's
So
see.
he sent to make like copies to the mainland, to Tegucigalpa.
It's like this is
nice.
amazing. Like, can we take a picture of this afterwards? This is super cool. Like, I know you said it's a replica, right? But this is amazing. Check it out as well.
Yeah, because I know some of like the older indigenous people would use stuff like jade and stuff like that in their jewelry. So I was just
They
use
use jade for a lot of stuff, huh?
Yeah, like anything like this is considered a Yabadingding.
I gotcha.
Anything that was done in pre-Columbian times.
So this is kind of like a very and my dad. Before I even read your book, before I even had the idea of this podcast, I guess my dad would always sit and tell us stories about the Yabadingdings that he would find over in Junswell. So you got to kind of like add that to your list of places because, and I asked him, I was like, actually just a few nights ago, I asked him because of this. And I was like, my dad's name is Larry. So I call him Lar. I was like, Lar, come on. And I was like, I remember you telling me several times as a kid that you would find these, the pitch beads and the pottery and stuff like that. And I was like, what did you like keep any of it or anything? He's like, oh no, I gave it to all the people coming on the sailboats and stuff. I was just like, he's like, and the thing is like, I was like, why would you do that? And he's like, well, as a child, you just think that kind of stuff would never end. Is like they would find it like so often. So like you should really, mark Junesville on your map at some point.
I personally don't have any because now there's laws for that, right?
Yeah.
So nowadays you take something that's archaeological and that's 10 years in jail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
10 years.
It's 10 years in jail, yes.
I'd prefer not go to jail for a,
but
200-300. How many years ago was that? Like 5? No, it's like 500 or 600, right? Am I right? Year old? Like how old can a Yabadingding be? Probably 500 or 600.
500, 600, about 600 years.
Yeah, I'd prefer
Probably
not
more.
go to jail for 10 years for a 600-year-old pot.
Yeah. Where did you find the most on? Like, in what area did you find the most Yabadingdings? I kind of fun to saying that word, Yabadingding.
Yabadingding.
I can't give you a specific place because they're everywhere.
Right.
Like they're absolutely everywhere. All you need is like a little pick and start picking on the ground and you can find them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Utila I'd find them everywhere. Like for example, Yabadingdings can be anything. It could be like even a rock like that they placed somewhere that they cleaned up and they how do you polish.
Yeah.
Or maybe they like drew something on the rock, maybe.
Chiseled something into it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they used to use them to create roads. Like, for example, in Utila, if you go, like, you get off the ferry, right? The Utila Dream, and then you start walking up on the left side, yeah. And most people don't notice, but if you see, like, the little small thin roads that go up, the ones made out of cement, and you notice, like, on the sides, you're going to find some rocks. The Indians placed them there. And those were landmarks that later on the English used to just pave streets. They used them as reference.
Oh. So like we've been up those roads before because we actually have a cousin that lives right up there on Stort Hill. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that here in Roatan. And again, we talked about my little time on Guanaja, but I really didn't see anything like that there either. So did we like how stuff like that here on Roatan and maybe just someone just kind of paved over it, or got rid of it or something, maybe. I imagine so, right?
We had a lot. Yeah, there's a place in Gravel Bay at the top of the hill that's called the Table of the Indigenous People, and that's where they had one of their settlements. They were usually settled up on the hills, so you can find a lot of things like this pottery pieces. You're not gonna find the entire piece nowadays. But you can find little pieces of pottery. Most of them are in museums. They're in museums in other countries as well. Like, for example, the British Museum has a lot of Yabating things that were here. They were looted illegally by, like avid, not archaeologists, but avid
Like-
adventurers.
Like Indiana Jones,
Uh,
like
Nathan Drake.
Nathan,
If you know, you know.
if you know, you know. So all right, well, so there's probably like 3 or 4 stories of your Yabadingding searches in your book that I can remember. I guess it's probably more, probably less. I don't know. But do you have like any other one that is not in your book that you would like to share with us? Like some other story, I don't know, you just didn't have the time to, or maybe a story that happened after your book was already published.
yeah.
You have anything around those you want to share with us?
Yeah, I ended up going to this cave called the Candle Cave in Utila.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's in Pumpkin Hill, right? And so you go to this cave, and it's really interesting because it's called the Candle Cave. And I thought it was really cool that people would go in there with candles until I started researching into history. And it turns out that when the English came, there was no electricity, there was no flashlights. So they would put candles in the cave, and they would go in there and they would find things, So I went there twice. The first time that I went there, it was really cool. I have some really nice pictures. It made it all the way to Diario La Prensa. But the second time that I went there, the guy was setting up I had a guide, and he was setting up the candles, and we started feeling something very weird. Like in caves, you don't feel any wind. Nothing is moving.
Yeah.
And we would see like something that would like move like this, and you would see it go like swish. And it was my second time, so I didn't think anything would happen. But then it started blowing out the candles.
Oh my god. Okay, so that's it.
And he looked at me.
We were going, bro.
He looked at me and he said, "You want to keep going?" I said, "Hell no." And we walked out because you never know,
Yeah, that is great, and that kind of goes along the line of that same story you told us with Webb with the skull. That's, guys, read the book. It's pretty freaky. It's cool and freaky and just
It has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's a cool book. I'm not a reader. I do not read. I told her that. I was like, look, I don't read, but I'll read your book because number one, I want to know more about my island, and number two, it just it's cool. It's cool. Who doesn't want to know about this beautiful islands in general? And I think you really educated me big time. I think this is something that this should be like in our schools. Like this should literally be in our schools here on the island. I truly believe that. So I guess we kind of want to know like who helped her on this job. We talked about Webb.
You said you went to Guanaja once for a few hours. You've been to Utila a few times, and who helped you and why, and just kind of give us a little backstory on that.
Well, in Utila, I lived in Utila for almost a year, right? And then I kept going back every couple of months. And I would ask around because I really wanted to finish this book. And they told me you should talk to Webb. I'm like, who's Webb? And it was just some guy walking barefoot, like through the street.
Sounds like Utila.
Like a full-on island boy. Like, yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't have given 5 cents for this man. He was like in his 70s and he was always drunk or something.
Yeah.
And I approached him and we started to talk, and he liked the fact that somebody cared about the history of the island. So he's like, nice. Okay, I'll take you. So I'd give him like 500 lamps, and he would take me to different caves. He'd tell me where I needed to go up on the north side of the island of Utila. He took me to see what else? The freshwater caves. We went to see caves where you can find jade and crystal, which was really cool. He took me to a cave where they found a gigantic alligator one time.
Oh, wow.
That was eating up like the locals' cows, and they didn't know what it was. And that was really interesting because they say that this alligator was so big. It was around how big was it? I think like 30 feet, they said.
Wow.
But it was huge, right? And if you read into the Petch history, there is a section where they talk in their history. They talk a lot about how their ancestors used to fight these huge, what do they call them? The way that they describe them, like nowadays, you know that it was an alligator, but to
Yeah.
them it was like a supernatural being.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. That is so cool. I'm getting like Far Cry vibes.
Yeah.
Like full on Far Cry. We're
Makes
gamers,
sense.
I'm sorry.
Because back in those days, I guess since no one really hunted them, they would get really big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Oh, lizards. They would call them gigantic lizards. They
Oh,
were
wow.
supernatural beings.
Yeah. Do you know how to like pitch words that you know like the meaning nowadays and stuff? Did you ever find out? I know.
No, they're not so different from what they used to be, but what the information that they have now is so little. There are efforts from the government right now to preserve it, and they're trying their best. They have small little schools, but in the last 10 years, a lot of them have been closed.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, so they're really trying to keep it alive, but it takes a lot of money and a lot of effort to do it.
Is there any places here in Roatan that goes really in depth with the history? Do you think that you would suggest people that want to come here and explore the island?
Like, and I know we talked already about the place over in Gravel Bill, in the native. I can't remember what exact words you used, but like I guess Isaac is asking more like, is there like a museum kind of
Yeah.
thing? You know, somewhere where
They're working on it right now. The Roatan Marine Park is the one that has, you know, like they're trying to create right now cultural tourism. So they're working on creating this specific place in Gravel Bay called the Indigenous Table. They're trying to
Okay.
create like a touristic route for it and teach people about the history and about the importance of the indigenous people that inhabited the island. I'm part of the Preservation Society for the History and the Culture of the Bay Islands, and we're in the legal phase right now. But as soon as that's done, then we're starting like efforts to preserve from the cemeteries, which are really, really important. There's a lot of history there. We want to create a museum as well where there's a lot of people who have offered to donate the things that they have, a lot of
that's
things.
nice. That's really nice. Yeah, because I've heard of several locals who have like, you know, stuff that they've found in their backyard and under their house, and you know, it's kind of like stories similar to that one with Webb and the skull. You know, they were like digging, getting ready for construction, and then they just ran into something crazy. All right, well, so we talked enough, guys, about Yabudingdings and people. Let's talk a little bit about what everyone loves. Let's talk about food. Let's talk about island food. You know, in your book, there's a few pages in there about the local cuisine here in Roatan. And this is also something that's pretty hard for me, because when people ask me like, okay, look, we want to try something local, like, you know, local for me is beans and rice, whole fried fish. You know, that's something I grew up on, fried plantains, and boom, we good, right? A lot of people don't know what taparo is, the McCoy. You know, that's
Machuca.
That's also where, you know, that's the garifuna. However, it's sold all over the island at this point. Do you have like a, you know, favorite dish? And I guess we can kind of all state our own favorite, but we'll start off with you.
Well, I have a favorite dessert, which is the duff.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know about duff nowadays, you know, but it's essentially like a bread that you bake, and then on top of that you make the sauce that goes on top, and it has eggs, it has evaporated milk, condensed milk, but it's very sweet. It's very, very tasty. Has a lot of sugar on it.
Do you know if there's like I'm trying to think of one, and I guess I can't, but do you think there's something, I guess we can probably post this in our social media if we do find something, but maybe something that the rest of the world can kind of compare it to, that, you know, like we would probably, that everyone else can kind of get it, which is, I guess there's pictures in your book of it.
For the duff specifically, I'm not sure, but we do have corn custard in common with a lot of people. Corn custard, corn rice, coconut cakes.
Okay, sounds good. Me personally, oh my gosh, I asked the question, didn't think of my answer. I guess if I was to say my favorite plate would probably be fried hog. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you could kill me at fried hog.
Yeah, no.
I'd probably just took I6. But
You
like,
took mine.
you can literally like sprinkle poison on a good plate of fried hog and I'd still eat it. Like, yeah, I'd still eat it.
Yeah.
I'd take my chances.
I had, besides fried hog, I don't get it. I don't get to eat it very often, but when I do, it's McCoy. Yeah. 'Cause I don't get it very often, but I always enjoy a good plate of McCoy.
I guess what I like about McCoy is you just kind of never know what you can pull out. You know, like you shove your fork and you have no idea, or I guess your spoon. You shove your spoon and you have no idea what you can pull out of there.
Yeah.
It could be guana, it could be chicken, it could be fish. You just never know what you can pull out.
No, that's what I love about it. It's just never know.
Yeah. All right. So, what about drinks? Like, and this is actually something really cool for a lot of you people coming to the island. I have had several tourists ask me about monkey lalas.
Right.
I found out the origin of monkey lala in your book, you know, and that was like, I was like, there's no way, that's crazy, because it's such a simple origin, but funny at the same time. I don't know if you get what I mean. Like, you know, do you have like a local favorite drink? I guess I'd have to ask you.
Well, I like the monkey lala, but it's more of a drink that was made for tourists just to
Yeah.
entertain them. But I like that the islanders made all kinds of stuff from what they found here when they came. And, you know, like up in the East End, they still make wines made out of the
Wineberry juice.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know the actual name of those those berries? Because apparently, from what I understand, they're elderberries. But I could be wrong. Someone had told me that, and I don't know. If whoever is watching this, if that was you, if it's wrong, I blame you.
I have to look into it, but I've never heard that they're elderberries. I heard the scientific name for it that I can't recall what it is right now, but I've never heard that they're elderberries.
Oh, you know the scientific names. They're like,
What's the scientific name for them?
I can't recall right now.
it's like
It's long.
that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
like you know that scientific is always being scientist.
Yeah. Probably in Latin too.
Yeah, probably in Latin, Greek, and all the above, like mixed in.
Yeah, but wineberries is really nice.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff.
Nice island, like homemade.
Whenever
drinks.
I think of wine bear, I always think of Semana Santa.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like rough around the same time. They're in season. And so I always remember like my mom mixing wine bear because it's like strong. You know, it's literally like a strong drink. She'd mix it with like, you know, Pepsi or like the grape soda and stuff like that. It'd be amazing. If I personally had to choose, and get ready, buddy, because you go next. If I personally had to choose, I would probably say I love hog plum juice. Hog plum is I love hog plum juice. You know, so all right, go ahead, your turn.
But this might be because I don't hear too much people ever talking about it. But crab juice.
Oh yeah,
Crab
yeah,
juice.
So no,
for me, that I love crab. Can I go wrong with crab juice? Or when you turn it into a topoillo, for those that don't know what a topoillo is
it's in the book. It's in the book.
It's in the book?
It is in the book, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, it is. I remember reading it. It's in the book. Yeah, read the book. So
So-
we can tell you.
crab juice. That's hands down the best for me.
With some milks.
With some milks.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
and specific with
ma'am.
Melix.
Yep.
This really quick funny story. So my dad loves crab. I hate the scent of crab. Like
I
I
love this
don't know.
story.
This is hilarious. So this one time, like I mentioned, you know, we're gamers. So this one time I was at home. This is during the quarantine. Actually, this is when everything was on lockdown. My dad had collected like a whole gallon of crab ooze. I can't say this and not laugh. And so, you know, they kind of like ferment them for a bit. And so he had it just there fermenting, you know, this is like this gas and stuff. And so my dad, like he had left the gallon bottle open just a little bit so that those gas could leak out. And like, I don't know if I just wasn't thinking or if I just did it on like, you know, spite, I guess, which spite is a word we'll talk about. But I like walked past and just like, you know, closed it tight. And so there's like a couple of days pass. And so I'm just playing PlayStation, you know, and again, there's nothing else to do in quarantine. And this is like when they got like really serious, you know, like not letting us out at all.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I hear this loud boom. I walk outside my kitchen, there's like crab everywhere.
Oh my god.
My dad has curly hair, guys. I don't know where I get this hair from, but he had like curly hair. He had some of his hair, his mustache. It was like
So did he open it?
I think he was going to try and open.
Because I remember hearing the story about it exploding, but I don't know if it exploded on its own.
No, I think he went to open some to like make some,
and it just shot out.
He was like sweeping crab well like everywhere. Oh my gosh, that's the
I remember walking in and trying to get it off the roof.
Yes, literally.
How in the world?
It was amazing. I don't know. So I think that's all the time we hold. Jerrica, was such a pleasure. Thank you for being literally our first guest. Before we go, do you have any more projects coming up that we can know about, at least that you want to kind of mention on here, and so that people that read the book can kind of be on the lookout? We're gonna also attach like your social media and stuff at the bottom at the end of the video. But like, if there's anything you want to specifically talk about before we leave.
Well, I have a series that's coming up. Before the series is coming out sometime around July, sometime in the summer. Before that, we were just talking about it with my production team, and we were thinking about pulling out a film first, like a little short film of like 60 seconds or 60 minutes. I'm sorry, 60 minutes.
That's a short film.
A very short film.
Don't blink.
About the history of the Bay Islands. The series, the episodes, it's 12 episodes. It's a whole season, and all 12 episodes, there's a whole story that's like around 2 pages long of information.
Oh.
And this story, we're gonna be telling it throughout all of those episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the film is gonna be like a little short version of it, and then in the episodes we go in depth into, all these different places that are in the book, places that I discovered afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And that.
All right. Well, that's so. And do you still have like a release date or nothing yet? No.
A what?
Like a release date?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Do you have a title for what the series is going to be called? Or?
The series is called Caribbean Honduras.
Okay.
And the
Nice.
first season, it's going to be airing in Honduras, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's in Spanish, but the first season is called Maravillas Ocultas, which is
Cool.
Hidden Wonders.
Nice. All right. Well, guys, you guys heard it first here on the Roatan Island podcast, I think, unless you
Yes.
follow Jerrica.
First time? Okay.
And if you don't follow Jerrica, you guys got to. We'll attach, a link or something. I don't know what our producer will come up with, but anyhow. So we hope you guys enjoyed tonight's episode. We sure did. Jerrica, we're friends now, so I hope you like this because you ain't getting rid of us. So
Thank you.
one last shout out to the Galaxy Ferries. And Brady's Key, actually, who are both of our sponsors. Oh, there's Brady's Key right up here. Just one more thank you, I guess. And well, thank you, Jerrica.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jerrica.
so much.
Thank you for coming by
You're the best.
and sharing with us. Appreciate it.
All right. Wait, we got one more. Wait, we're having some technical difficulties. And
But yeah, guys. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, follow, and share us on all your socials.
check you later.